What's he going to do? Oh, don't tell me. Hold on. Hold on. What's going to happen? This is South Africa's record. Lamu. Johnny Wilkinson. He's got it.
Yeah,
Welcome back, everybody, to the Unpro Pro Rugby Show. And today we're joined by the creator of the black jersey, or the man behind the black jersey, Max Sharp. Kia ora, bro. What's happening?
I'm good, Dane, bro. It's getting real, eh?
It is. It is.
All the
It's
talk
like,
over.
for me, it's like the gods from above have shined upon for the final, because the rugby at its biggest stage, with two of the most dominant teams that have been since, I said it before, since William picked up the soccer ball and started running, Springboks and All Blacks. It doesn't get better.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking this for a long time.
Yep.
For years and years, I've been seeing people saying, "Oh, All Blacks versus Springboks." 4 years ago, everyone I knew was like, "Oh, it's going to be the All Blacks versus the Springboks in the greatest ever final." Blah blah blah. England obviously crashed the party. That didn't happen, but yeah, I think a lot of very dissatisfied people with the fact that it hasn't happened since '95. They're going to be quite happy.
Yep.
I wasn't alive in '95, so it's going to be a bit of an experience, eh?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think I was 3 years old. I might have watched my first game. I think everyone watched that game in South Africa. That was massive. Yeah. Obviously, South Africa's their first World Cup ever, and then their first win. So, yeah, there's obviously a lot around that. Man, I wanted to, like, I'm not in South Africa at the moment. I was there in 2007, the last time I was at home when we did win the World Cup. What's the vibe like in NZ at the moment?
To be honest, maybe it's just because I have a job working for myself. There's not too much talk about it.
Okay.
I talked to my personal trainer about it. I talked to my family about it. I don't really see people wearing All Blacks jerseys a heck of a lot in town. New Zealand's got a bit of a culture of bandwagoning in 2019. Obviously, there was a World Cup.
Yeah.
Then when Corona kind of shut down, everyone was just going to as many sports. And the whole Last Dance thing with Michael Jordan, it's really accelerated basketball's development in New Zealand, because it had been growing for a while. Then when Steven Adams cracked the NBA in 2013, it just went off and exploded. And the whole watching The Last Dance through lockdown, it's really helped basketball. You see people are wearing all the NBA kit outdoors, out in town. Then obviously the bandwagon 2022 came to be the Blues and Super Rugby.
Yep.
People got triggered, they didn't win, so they went off to the Black Ferns. Yep. 2023, we now have everyone yelling up the Waz because the Warriors Rugby League. Now that they've been eliminated from the NRL and they didn't win, everyone finally remembers the All Blacks exist. They're trying to play the expert, and I'm like, no. I've been covering this for 4 years. I know what's going on, bro.
Yeah. And well, I don't want to jump. I'm almost going to jump into the question that I want to ask right at the end. Can the All Blacks do it? Obviously, I mean, you think so. But like, was it kind of expected to get to the finals?
My father-in-law and I, we were just because of everything I've noticed, like I picked up on the All Blacks decline post 2016. I noticed, Shag had got stuck in his ways. I noticed, Bodie's lack of game management. I noticed that all the Graham Henry era players that is all dropping like flies, going overseas, retiring. All the different circumstances that you get when you turn to your late 20s or a rugby player. You're way up your future. They're all heading off, and I'm just like, man, we're going to get smoked by England. It happened. And Ian Foster, he's just throughout his whole tenure appears to have learned nothing from what happened under Shag. And Joe Spinn, Jason Ryan, they finally saved us. If they weren't with us right now, we wouldn't be where we are now. Me and my father-in-law, we talked to each other so seriously, saying, yep, Fozzie's last game. We were dead serious. We weren't making fun. We genuinely just believed it. Yeah, last year, everything that happened with the Irish series, the fact that we lost back-to-back to France and Ireland really cut deep, but then to lose a home series, I think turned a lot of people off the game for good, with, other sports already growing. And I think that the Foster era has almost been a golden age for sports outside of rugby, and now we're finally coming back in. There we go.
Yeah. So actually Foster's done the country good in sporting terms. Bro.
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah. Because I've got a few Kiwi mates here, and we're going to watch the game together on Sunday. I know it's going to be Man, they've already told me to bring my headgear and my mouth guard in case the Springboks win, because then we're gonna fight. We're gonna battle it out in the pub. But I remember watching, it was either, I can't remember which championship game it was, but we left to go to the pub at halftime and the All Blacks were down. And one of the boys, a Kiwi boy in the car, and was like, F Fozzie, Fozzie this, Fozzie that, Fozzie. Was that the general consensus in New Zealand before the World Cup? And then I think off the back, like the two-part question, then the second time everyone's seeing what he's done now at the World Cup, and it's almost been like, okay, no, Fozzie's actually done all right.
If I'm being honest, people weren't even caring about the World Cup. It wasn't even a point of conversation.
Yeah.
Getting up early, everyone's too busy talking about the Warriors. People were that invested with Warriors. You saw, those NRL games. It's the only New Zealand team in the league because obviously every other team's from Australia. Everyone's screaming up the wires. Everyone's talking about it on the mainstream media. Everyone's got it on their cars. You're seeing every single game they're playing in New Zealand selling out. People are traveling. You're getting actual Kiwis to sing and dance, and we're not very energetic fans. You don't get that at games. And I was just like, I was genuinely starting to believe maybe rugby is on its deathbed, because the sentiment with like people cursing, being abusive, blah, blah, that was more last year when the Irish series was happening, because my sentiments basically, no, people weren't harsh enough, but they were too busy being horrible, nasty people to actually uncover all the problematic tactics, actually have those fair discussions, discuss performance. They were too busy, being rouge to actually critique everything properly and, I guess notice all the issues we had.
Yeah, right. So it's a bit deeper than just that surface level. Oh, Fozzie was shit, but then now he's good. Yeah, so it runs a bit deeper than that.
Yeah, basically, bro.
Yeah. Well, I want to get to what's happening now. And it is the biggest week in World Rugby with, like I said, the two powerhouses of World Rugby going at it on the biggest stage. What's impressed you most about the All Blacks? And then secondly, what's impressed you most about the Springboks?
Since, that loss to Ireland in 2016, I don't think the All Blacks were ever the same after that.
Yep.
Eddie Jones kind of, built a hypothesis of what was happening with the Irish. He was like, oh, crack, so they've been there long. He started investigating, he started picking apart, the fact that we weren't, I guess, defending the backfield as well as others. He started picking apart that we had an older type 5. The Lions tour, seeing that, he was like, oh, jeepers, that's really starting to make me question if my wee theory is legitimate. Right. He then sees you guys destroy us in 2018 because Bodie wasn't getting his goals in Wellington. He's like, yep, absolutely correct. We'll use our end of year test as a bit of a trial run, and we'll go from there for 2019. He realized that, they probably could have been a bit more competent with the Jackals, so he bought Tom Curry in to be a second open side when he came back from injury. And goodness me, it could have been a different story if he actually picked a proper third lock at 6 and not Billy Vunipola in the 2019 World Cup. He just got too carried away with the Jackal, and I guess he just lost it at the line out and everything. But even though everyone was talking about the Springboks back then, it was dark here in New Zealand, because in 2020 we weren't improving any of the things that Ireland showed us up in 2016. And, we were almost, you can even see during the haka, during the most of the Foster years, that it wasn't in sync. There wasn't quite something right with the group. I don't have the obviously inside word on what was happening, but there was obviously something. And I think that all the boys have come together. They've really connected out of the pain, and they've used it kind of to grow closer as a unit. And they've really just, after a few years, realized, hey, look, let's just work together as a team and let's just connect with each other. Let's become best mates, and we can do it like how we did in the good old days. And you saw against Ireland, that was the first time since 2016 we were playing with mana. We were playing like the All Blacks. We'd been playing for, the New Zealand national team for a few long, but not for the All Blacks for a while.
That's what you mean.
And the South Africans, a lot of the reason they've succeeded under Jacques Nienaber and Rassie Erasmus is Rassie Erasmus came in 2018 and he was like, nah, we're not playing to win the game. We're playing to save our country, because, YouTube obviously won't allow us to talk about everything that's happening in South Africa because, I don't know, politics just gets a bit of a toxic topic. But Erasmus taking that kind of approach, he was able to galvanize the box emotionally. And because he was, picking a lot of those players based on club level cohesion, based on their personalities, they were just able to dominate up front, even though they didn't necessarily have a very complete game plan. And Jacques Nida was kind of continued on with that culture. And because they've got a good team culture, they can win tests where they really don't deserve to win, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But
100%.
both teams' main thing impressing me is team culture. And because they're in sync, the Box just that scrum for the loft themselves, eh?
Yeah, 100%. I think too, when you've mentioned there, how they say that they've emotionally connected with the players. I'm talking now on the Springboks side. It's like when the Springboks are playing for more than just themselves. And I think that kind of works with anything. When you're playing for more than just yourself, those small little moments when you're too tired or when you don't want to make that extra effort, that second tackle, get up and hit that rock. Like those guys think of that when they were speaking beforehand about we're playing for more than just this jersey. It's more than just the name on the back of it. It's that the country, everything that goes with it. And I think that's where, like you said, that's helped the Springboks kind of galvanize. And I seen when you mentioned that just then, it almost hit in my head. And I was like, that makes so much sense about the All Blacks then playing as the All Blacks again, now against Ireland. Seeing that when it comes down to getting a tough win, like a few years ago, like that, they were losing those games. You know what I mean? But they're winning those tough games. That's like all Blacks of old. They can win a game comfortably, but they can also knuckle down and win those tough games. Where recently, couple times, those tough games come and they lose them, or they fold. I wouldn't say fold, but they lose them by those 2 or 3 points. And but then jumping back to the Springboks, I think what's impressed me the most, especially these last 2 games, is I wouldn't say they played badly against France, but I don't think they played well against England at all. But on both occasions, down by a number of two scores at least, and came back to win, playing badly. So I think that's the biggest. And then it only means I'm all about like the stars and tinfoil hats and all kinds of things. You don't get 3 bad games in a row. The third one has to be good. So that just leads to this weekend being a belter of a game. Threats from the Springbok side. Where do you think they will win or lose the game?
Yeah, something that I picked up on at Twickenham when I did my analysis video, the Springboks were really just establishing that early dominance of the breakdown, because I saw a lot of the players, they were binding to the carrier to add extra weight to begin with.
Yep.
And then they spend less time entering the breakdown. So it's harder not only for, opposition players to clean them out, but it's actually hard to get over the ball to attempt a jackal in the first place. You compare that to the French, who were in those last few moments against the Springboks, Reda Wadi recovering the ball has to go for a bit of an angle. No one's there in support. And so you see that when they're able to gain those extra few meters at last, de Klerk was able to mentally prepare himself, strip that ball. You saw against England, for example, at the very end when they were setting up for Farrell to take the drop goal, Billy Vunipola, he knocked that ball on. He didn't have another player bounce to him. So he didn't have the extra weight of another player to go forward. It really brassed me off, because that was the same Billy Vunipola I said shouldn't have been at the World Cup. But oh well, I guess we just got to face the Springboks, and it's going to be harder for us to take the win. Oxenchair, of course, in the scrum, not only did he save you guys from a quarterfinal exit, but he saved you from a semi-final exit. He won that scrum penalty with that tight head that allowed for Pollard to send the ball over from 49 meters. There's a reason I picked him in my team at the tournament, guys. If you don't think Oxenchair is a good prop, I don't know what game you're watching.
Yeah, you don't get rugby. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that's also why, why and so important that whole squad is for South Africa. Not just the 15, that they've got guys on the bench, and they call the bomb squad for a reason. Like those guys make such a big impact when they come on. And like Pollard came on in the 30th minute. That RG Snyman came on in the, was it 45th minute or 50th minute for Eben? I had that many people message me, Eben Etzebeth, ? When he got subbed off. And I was like, I was also stunned, but then I was like, they have to have something here. We were down in the lineouts. I'm not saying Eben isn't a good lineout jumper, but I think RG Snyman might have 2 or 3 centimeters on him just to get that extra height. And he might be a bit quicker in the lineouts. Their lineouts went a lot better when he came on, and then obviously scored the try as well. So I think their whole team works well together. When one guy's lacking, he can be subbed off. Again, like Ninabe said as well, they don't really take things personally. So if they're getting subbed off in 30 minutes, that's just part of the game. We're playing, again, for something more than just us personally. And then
I suspect it was
does a job.
essentially a weight thing. Sorry if I interrupted you there. Just wanted to continue with the line out, like with the weight thing.
Yeah.
I think it must have been, because when you look at a Toje, he's 6'5". When you look at who else are they starting a lot? Goodness me. When you look at Courtney Laws, he's 6'7". They're not well over 2 meters, these English guys, but because they're a bit more lightweight, a bit more athletic, quicker, they're getting up. Yeah. Compare that to a Johnny Hill who England didn't pick, who would have taken longer because he's 6'9", 120 kg. And Eben Etzebeth, I think maybe he takes longer to lift up because he's got that extra weight compared to Snyman. And so even though Toje is 6'5", he's dominating the line out because he gets up so quick. And I think that's definitely got something to do with Snyman coming on quickly.
That's what I thought. And that's why I thought they kept Franco Mostert on, because again, he's taller, but he's a lot skinnier. So obviously can move a lot quicker, and they can throw him up a bit higher potentially. That's the only reason I'm like, Eben Etzebeth is our enforcer. Physically, he has to be on the field. But we were getting dominated in the lineouts, whether that be the throwing or guys and most of the time, I think Itoje was just getting in front of our jumpers. So we just needed to be quicker there. I think that was mainly it. And just comes back to the fact that how important the whole squad is. I know you did a team, or like what you think the selections are going to look like from New Zealand's side of it. There was a lot of chat around Beauden Barrett, like potentially not now. I mean, 2 weeks ago when he wasn't doing well at fullback, but I think he's secured his spot there. Do you think there'll be any changes there, or are they just going to go same as semis?
Yeah, people are completely justified when they say they want Jordan to go to fullback, because people watch my video about how I say Geordie Barrett's not a centre. He can attack from anywhere. It's about what we lose defensively and as a kicker when we take him out from 15. Because, all that attack stuff he can do from anywhere. He's a phenomenal player. But suddenly when you take him out from 15, you lose just that enforcer as your goalkeeper, as your last line of defense. But Bodie, as of recent weeks, because the games haven't been so expansive, they've been more grind fests. Having Bodie as a more suspect defender compared to his little brother, that's not as much of a factor in selection. So we don't lose, I guess, that presence of Geordie in the backfield when the games aren't all running rugby over and over and over. And Will Jordan, keep him on the wing. You don't fix what isn't broken. The only changes I can see coming, those are Cam Roigard, since he's really proven himself against South Africa. And David Havili's absolutely possible because you can have that extra kicking threat off the bench. But, Mackenzie's played more tests, ALB's played more tests, Havili's been injured. So you're more likely to see Whainga Anuku come in for Mackenzie, because Whainga Anuku, as Caleb Clark did against the Box at Mount Smart, he can provide, that extra ruck clearance out wide. He can protect the single man pod who's, running up the guts without another forward in a pod with him. That's, I guess, why we're selecting a bit of a power winger on the left wing a fair bit. Tilly is by no means the biggest guy, but he's very, very strong.
Can't tackle him, eh? Yeah, he's so hard to tackle. I love how he gets off his wing and comes and runs around in between the rucks. It just pops out there at kind of where the forwards are supposed to stand, gets it off 9, and can beat 5 or 6 defenders just in between the rucks. It's great. That's just crazy, man. So I also don't I wouldn't say I've looked at it every position, but I don't see much change there. I mean, again, what isn't broke, don't fix it. That's interesting that you've come aware of that with Leicester, maybe potentially coming on because he is a bigger body. But again, like D-Mac has also proved himself, man. It doesn't matter who it's against. He just comes on and does what he has to do. But I get what you're saying there. I mean, Springboks are going to be so physical, man, whether it be out on the wings, in the center, or up in the forwards. It's just, you just know what you're getting with the Springboks.
Yeah,
On the
exactly.
spring,
You've known what you're going to get for 4 years at
yeah,
least. The thing is, it's so much harder to actually beat the Springboks than it is to work out what they're going to do, because everybody knows what they're going to do. It's so easy to
yeah,
work out. Everybody knows, but you have to be switched on 100% of the time. And if you're not, if you have bad discipline, they're going to go for a scrum. They're going to reset it until there's a penalty. Then they're going to take either the maul or the shot at goal.
yeah. Or potentially keep riding that and get a prop sent off for the opposition. I mean, that's another way to look at it as well. So, but again, if something works for you, keep doing it. That's what I think. I think we can expect a couple of changes for the Springboks. I reckon Faf de Klerk he's played himself in. Potentially Kobus Reinach does cover he covers wing as well. So he might be, I'm thinking they go for the 6-6-2 split with an extra forward on. Kwacha Smith and Dion Fourie have been phenomenal when they come on. Just nuisance at ruck time. I mean, Dion is covering, Fourie's covering hooker and on the flanks. And Kwacha Smith comes in, man. He just does what like I haven't seen, and especially that transition from sevens to where he is now, like just crazy athlete. He's not the biggest guy, but so strong over the ball, makes that many tackles, and can cover on the wing if he has to, because he's got the skill set to do that. So we could look at something like that. And then I think the biggest one, I think Pollard needs to start. I don't think there's a question mark around, oh, we saw what Libbok did for those first 30 minutes and then Pollard did his bit coming on at the end. Like, no, in a World Cup final, we need that from the start. So I honestly think Pollard needs to start. And if they do select Marnie Libbok to start, I think Rassie and Jark owes Springbok fans a reason why, and a proper reason why, because, man, I'm not the selection team, but I think it's pretty clear who needs to be starting there. But man, it's going to be so good. Honestly, I can't wait. I wish it was Saturday morning just because it's a day earlier then, and then you can carry on.
Yeah.
I don't have to work the next day. Final question, man. Who's prediction? Who's winning? And let's make it spicy. Give us a margin.
The thing is with the Springboks, it's technique over size. So we've got a bigger front row replacement. It's going to come down to actually your discipline. If the All Blacks keep their discipline, they're going to win. If they don't keep their discipline, they're not going to win. That's what it comes down to. I think the winner, whoever it is going to win by 12 points. That's the margin I think we're going to see. But overall, with the winner, I think rugby's going to be the ultimate winner.
Talk about politics. Come on.
I mean, like, you get Stade de France, you get the most vicious stadium, the most intimidating one in Test rugby.
Yeah.
But with the All Blacks, having a week off against Argentina, the Springboks facing two set-piece heavy teams in a row.
Yeah.
You know who I'm backing, eh?
Yeah, we know. It's the Springboks.
Kiwi, you know who I'm backing.
It's the Springboks. But I do like that's the margin, because I do think there is going to be a couple of tries in this game. Both teams have, especially obviously the All Blacks, are known to play an expansive style of footy. They've got the skill set. But South Africa as well have been scoring tries recently. Have been going, even in the semi, instead of going for posts, they went to touch a few times. The lineup let them down, but I don't see that changing much in the final. I think they're going to go for tries, man. And I think we're in for a game and a half. You know what? I'm going to go to Springboks by 12. Let's do that then.
Springboks by 12. We'll see how it goes then, eh?
Yeah, let's do that then.
We're basically thinking the same thing. We're just backing our countries.
Yeah, that's it. We should be politicians, man. How good. How good.
Nah, bro.
All right, Max, appreciate it, man. I like especially in the YouTube kind of space. You've always been open with when I've thrown you questions. I've only recently kind of jumped into the space, man. You've been really, really cool and opening like that. It's been really cool to hear your side of this game that's going to happen this week, and then all the little bits of questions I've asked you throughout the World Cup. Like, it's been really cool, man, getting your response. Someone that's been in the game for a bit. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you jumping on, and plenty more to come, man.
It's all good, Dane. Definitely keep your channel up. But nice to see you hit 5K before the end of the year, bro.
Oh, let's
Always
do
good
it.
to see the passion, someone just carrying the torch for the late Gareth Mason, because man, oh man, he'd be frothing at the mouth to see this. God rest that dude's soul. He was a pretty good YouTuber back in his day.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, all good, man. And we'll see you next time, guys. Appreciate your time. All right. Bye.
Cheers, guys.